Today I'll be taking a look at these, the echobuds. I'll be sharing my initial impressions that I had on the sound quality, talking about some flaws that no one else seems to be talking about, and lastly, sharing my opinion now after 1 month of use. Welcome back to another episode of Stu's Reviews. Literally anything Amazon brings out in terms of tech excites me. Not because they bring out the most incredible future-thinking tech there is, but actually because they produce some incredible gems at really affordable prices. So I was delighted when they brought these out, the echobuds. Unfortunately, they've only just released in the UK last month. It's taken them a while to actually bring them here. I think in the US they've been out for a few months already. So, before we begin, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and let's take a look at the specs. It really annoys me that the UK always seems to get Amazon's newest arrivals last, but finally I've got hold of them, the Amazon Echo Buds. Starting with the case, it's rather a simple design featuring only a single button on the bottom, the Amazon logo on the top, an LED indicator on the front, and holds up to 20 hours of charge for the buds. Opening the case, the earbuds are magnetised in, reducing the amount of accidental droppages. Despite being relatively small at only 22mm by 24mm, the earbuds are packed full of tech. Each earbud has 2 external beamforming mics for voice and noise reduction, along with 1 internal mic and dual-balanced armature drivers manufactured by Knowles. They'll work for up to 5 hours without needing to be put back into the case for a recharge, and can work with Amazon's voice service or your own device's inbuilt system. Lastly, these things are IPX4, a little bit low in my opinion, but it means they can survive light splashes without having a detrimental effect. Before I tell you what my thoughts are on the echobuds now, let's reverse the clock to 1 month ago and show you my initial impressions on the sound quality. Music time, let's put some music on. Okay. Okay. I'm going to crank it up a bit. Overall, good so far. I'd say it's probably quite even across the board. And obviously this is with no equalisation at all. Very good at the bass. Very good. Wow. These are very good. These are very good. These are really good. Wow. Well, okay, so let's go through some initial impressions. They are a little bit big and a bit dorky looking at first glance, but these are phenomenal quality. These are really quite good. And they don't cost very much, and I'll go into the price in a bit, I'm sure, when I talk about them in the future. So my initial impressions were that the sound was wonderful. Now, has the sound held up? Is my opinion still the same? And I can tell you the answer is yes. I still think these are a phenomenally sounding device. They're awesome for the price as well, considering these are about 120 quid at the moment. It's rather good. And the fact that you can change the equalisation of these headphones inside the app, it just means that you can tailor that sound to a sound that you might be more preferable towards, perhaps less bass or more treble. As it stood straight out the box, I actually found the sound rather good, and I didn't need to fine-tune it at all really to suit my sound preferences. There are a few things that have really stood out to me though that I definitely want to talk about now. The first is the noise reduction by Bose. It's awesome to see companies collaborating. IKEA did something very similar with their IKEA Symfonisk range, where they paired up with Sonos, and that turned out incredible. Honestly, it's really, really good to see these companies working together on sound. I mean, I know Amazon has done a lot of sound products over the past year or 2 or 3 or however long the Amazon Echo devices have been out for. But that's not the point. It's nice to see them pairing up with someone like Bose, who have been around for a lot longer, doing some incredible sounding speakers. In fact, just as standard computer speakers, I use the Bose Companion 20s, which are incredible. They've always been one of my favourite computer speakers out there. So, like I said, the fact they're using Bose active noise cancellation in this is awesome, and it really works very well as well. It does a superb job of filtering out all of the kind of background noise that you'd have on something like a train or a plane, and I've been using these on both, and actually they do a very good job indeed. So the active noise cancelling by Bose is incredible, and I'm so glad that Amazon teamed up with them to get that done. Another little nifty feature along the lines of the active noise reduction is Amazon's pass-through. Now, pass-through is basically what Apple call transparency in their AirPod Pros. And what it does is it allows the speakers on the earbuds to actually pick up the noise around you and play it through the earbuds while you're listening to music. Now, this sounds like a bit of a weird kind of function, but actually it's very, very useful in terms of, let's say you're on the train and you're listening to some music with the active noise reduction on, and you can see the conductor is standing right there next to you, beckoning for your ticket, which you probably haven't got because you've tried to get on the train for free. But let's say you don't want to take one of the earbuds out to speak to him. What you can do is you can turn on the pass-through, and you'll be able to hear him speaking to you as you're listening to music through the headphones. So actually, it's quite a useful little feature. Not something that I found myself using very much, but it's something that's there as an option. Actually, I guess if you work in high-risk environments, that's probably another place that you'd likely to use this. Simply because if someone's shouting at you, telling you there's a brick falling from a building, you're not going to be able to hear them if you've got the active noise reduction on and pass-through off. Whereas if you've got pass-through on, you're likely to hear it and sidestep out the way so that brick falls on the floor and not your head. There is a handy feature in the app that actually allows you to change the volume of this pass-through as well. So let's say you only want a minimal amount of volume coming through from the speakers on the outside world, you can turn that right down, or if you want to hear absolutely everything that's going on, you can turn it right up. So there is a bit of control in the app for that as well. Both the active noise reduction and the pass-through can be controlled by the app, but it can also be controlled by the earbud themselves, because you've got a little touch button just here that can do a bunch of different things. By going into the app, you can actually see the vast amount of things it can do, but already programmed in for me is to turn on the pass-through and to turn off or on the active noise reduction. But you can change that to things like skip song or activate voice assistant, as well as using the button to control what the earbuds are doing. They can do a lot automatically as well, and that's because of the proximity sensor on the inside of the earbud. So when you put them in your ear, it automatically plays music because it knows it's in your ear. And then when you take it out, it can stop the music automatically as well. So that is a really handy little feature. And going back to what I said earlier about the train conductor, if you are listening to music or you're watching a video, if you take one out, it's going to pause it for you automatically so you can talk to him without disrupting what you're doing. And then when he's gone, you can put it back in and you're good to go because it will automatically start playing. So that is an awesome little feature. And to be honest, you don't see that very often. It's only in a handful of headphones, especially at this price range. The last way of interacting with these earbuds are what you'd expect. You can in fact say that word and you can speak to her, which is a bit weird when you consider that I'm using an iPhone. Now this is the magic behind these, because it allows you to bring a full-blown one of those with you wherever you go. Now, okay, there are some limitations with this because most of the usage of is done in the home to control your lights, to control your kettle, to do other things like set timers. Most of that stuff you don't really do outside the house. However, it does actually integrate with your phone extremely well. I can do things like control music, ask it to call people, and I've still got all the standard Amazon stuff as well. So actually, I really like the fact I can do that. There are limitations to this. Let's say you're trying to send a message, you're not going to be able to because it just won't work. So in that case, you'll still need to use your phone's inbuilt voice assistant, whatever that is. And to do that, all you do is you hold your finger on the actual device. However, that's not the most comfortable because it feels like I'm pushing it so far inside my head, it's currently touching my brain. With that said, the actual mics that it uses to pick up my voice commands are very, very good. And for the fact that it actually sits inside your ear like this, it picks up your voice very, very well. I mean, I've got both earbuds in now on the left and the right, and this is the audio coming from these buds. So, I mean, it's not the best in the world, but it's doing a pretty good job considering it hasn't got big dangly down bits like other competitors' headphones. I think it's actually not too bad. And actually, the fact that it didn't have the dangly down bits means that you're not directing the sort of mics towards my mouth, which led me to the question, can someone else activate that by shouting that in a nearby vicinity? And the answer is no. We actually tried this quite a lot by getting someone to stand all around me shouting it, and it just did not activate. The only person that could activate it was me, the person wearing them. So if that's a concern that you have, rest assured they've done a bloody good job of it. It's nearly magic, I'd say. In respect to the comfort over the past couple of months, bit of a disclaimer here, I'm never really a fan of in-ear things. I find them a little bit uncomfortable over long periods of time, but as far as it goes, these are quite light and not really that obtrusive. They're actually probably one of the more comfortable options I've tried for inner ear headphones. Now, do they come out? For me, not easily. They seem to fit very, very well. But if I was doing some kind of active sport, then yes, they would come out, which is why Amazon have supplied you with wingtips for active sports. As you can see there now in my ear, and the little tip thing is essentially stopping them coming out. And it's actually quite comfortable because they're very soft. So I must say, I do actually like them. And the fact that actually in the case they've built a gap for those wingtips so you don't have to take them off to put them in the case is awesome. And actually that's an oversight by many other competitors, because quite often you'll find their case only accepts their earbuds themselves without any kind of additional stuff that people might want to have on for active sports. The fact that Amazon had built a space in for that gives them a few extra points in my eyes. I do have a few criticisms on the case though. Unless you put them on the softest bed of feathers that you can find, you are definitely going to scratch these. I haven't exactly been that careless with them either, and you can see that there's loads and loads of little scratches on both the case and the earbuds, so that's a little bit of a downside, the fact they don't seem to be made from the most robust material in the world. Secondly, it isn't always the most obvious how these things fit in the case. I find myself playing Tetris half the time trying to work out exactly how they're supposed to sit in there. It's not a huge issue, and I've gotten used to it over time, but I definitely found at first that was a big hurdle to cross. Actually, there's one more thing that has really irritated me about the case, and that is the fact that Amazon has chosen to use micro USB. Why in 2019 have they chosen to use micro USB? I do not know. When all of the competitors are using something like USB-C or even wireless charging, they've chosen to go down a really archaic route. I don't know why. They could quite have easily put a USB-C connector on this, or even a wireless charger. I mean, look how big the case is. They could definitely have done something like that. Yes, fine, they're trying to keep the cost down a little bit there, but come on, a wireless charger doesn't cost that much. I can pop on AliExpress and buy the internal components for one for about £3.50. Quite frankly, it's disgusting. So Amazon, if you're watching this, start using USB-C or wireless charging. Please. Now, one weird thing that I found with these headphones is that you cannot share them. That's because the range isn't very big. So for example, if I'm on the train and I want to share a headphone with my dog, do you want this? Don't eat it. Then he won't be able to use it. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend sharing a headphone with your dog. One last thing I want to address on the usage. One reviewer I've watched has said that they've had video lag on these. So the video has essentially lagged behind the audio, which has caused a notable frustration in watching video content with these things. Now, that's not something that I found myself. I found them working absolutely perfectly on all video content I've watched. So I don't know if that was because of the device they were using or whether or not the actual video did have audio that was lagging behind it. I don't know. But if you are watching this and you're expecting me to have had the same issue, I didn't. And I used these with the iPhone 11 consistently for the past month with no issues on video audio content at all. Now, just before I tell you my final thoughts, I want to say a massive thanks to all my current patrons. You guys are incredible, and you make Stu's Reviews what it is today. So without you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you very much for supporting me over on Patreon. But now it's time to talk about whether or not I think these are something you should buy. I think these are a solid pair of headphones. The features that they come with, such as the active noise reduction by Bose and the pass-through technology, and the fact that you can communicate with her as well, just makes these headphones really, really good. Okay, the design could be a little bit better, and actually I was kind of hoping they'd incorporate something like a little blue light ring or something when you're using her. A bit like the R-Billy headphones I reviewed about 2 years ago. They had an awesome blue light ring. I think the design could have been a bit better, but if we kind of ignore that, I think the positives far outweigh the negatives on these headphones. So if you are looking for a good, solid sounding headphone that has some awesome, solid features, then these are definitely the ones to buy, and for 120 quid, they're a pretty good price as well. As usual, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check them out for yourself. And I guess sometimes Amazon do sales as well on their Echo products, quite often slashing the price by 30, 40 odd quid. So, I mean, if these go below, say, 90 quid, they're going to be an absolute bargain. I think these are just a good option for somebody who doesn't want to use manufacturer's own headphones, such as the AirPods or the Samsung or the Huawei or any of them, the Xiaomi, any of the manufacturer's headphones that are kind of meant to work with them. If you want another option, this is the other option because it seamlessly works really well. Yes, I've only tried it currently with my iPhone, but I will be trying it with the Xiaomi Redmi Note 8 very soon, and I believe that they're going to offer a very similar experience from what I've read up on. But overall, I just think they're great, and I'm really, really impressed with Amazon's first entry into their smart connected headphones. Well done, Amazon. And that concludes today's review. Guys, if you liked today's video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe because it will really, really help, and press that notification bell so you get notified when I release more products. As always, I'll be covering the Amazon products as soon as they land. I know this one has been a little bit late because I wanted to really get to grips with them and find out how they are in a day-to-day scenario. But other than that, I'll be seeing you back for another episode of Stu's Reviews soon.